there's so much growth and opportunity for content folks.
There's greater emphasis now on people in content roles. CMOs are seeing they're going to have more content creators in their organizations.
There's so many avenues that you can go down, so many paths you can take.
We've just finished one of the most important pieces of research that I think we've done in our history.
We are so excited to release the first ever Content Marketing Careers and Salary Outlook. We really wanted to dive deep into key issues for content marketers, like work-life satisfaction, career development, and pay expectations.
I think one of the most positive things that came out of the salary survey was how satisfied we are in content marketing as a practice and how successful we feel at it.
Your goal as a marketer is to be the world's best marketer for your company.
It offers rare insight into the aspirations of content marketing professionals.
Do you want to follow the content path upwards? Be the director of content, the head of content, the VP of content, the chief content officer.
If you love the intersection between art and science and the creative and the technical, this is exactly where you should be. This is the most fun you're gonna have in your career.
Content turns out to be this great superpower.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It's Amanda with the Content Marketing Institute. Thank you so much for joining me for this Monday Ask the CM World Community live stream, where each live stream we dive into a new topic with an awesome guest from our CM World community. This live stream is brought to you by the Content Marketing Institute. If you don't know who we are, we're the leading training and education organization for all things content marketing. And if you joined us the other week, you know we just released a brand new salary and career survey. All kinds of amazing insight for content marketers in it. You can download it. You can see the link down there running at the bottom of the screen, cmi.media/jobs. I would highly suggest you check it out. Some really great stuff in that. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today's topic, content operations. How many ways does your brand use content? I bet you have some sales collateral, business communications, customer service scripts, product descriptions, all kinds of stuff. So can your content team provide all those assets while meeting your strategic goals, keeping up with your content standards? Building and maintaining a high performance content operation can feel a little overwhelming. So today we're going to offer you some advice on ways to create a content operation plan that is doable and will help you lighten the load. All right, as always, as you join me today, please give me a virtual wave, say hello, let me know where you are joining us from. As always, it makes for a more engaging live stream if you guys ask questions, make comments. We love to hear from all of you. I see some of you checking in. Andy's here, Edwin's here, Prathusha's here. Hope I got that right. Probably not even close, but thank you all for joining us. All right, so managing content effectively across an enterprise is more complex than it may seem. So that's why ArcXP teamed up with CMI to produce this new guide here. It's called the Quick Start Guide to Operations Planning. Help your content engine work smarter, not harder. So today, here to chat with me is Jeana Garms. She is the Vice President of Marketing at ArcXP. That is a cloud-native digital experience platform where she leads the global brand strategy and demand generation. She has 20 years experience in B2B and B2C marketing. Hello, Jeana. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Amanda. Thanks for having me.
We have a great crowd here joining us, people from all over Canada, Virginia, San Diego, Portugal. So hopefully it'll be a great discussion. Thank you all for joining us. All right, let's jump in here. Many companies, they jump right into creating their content, then they backtrack if they encounter problems. So why is it so important to build a formal operations plan just right from the start? I know it's like takes a lot of work, but why is it so important?
Yes, absolutely. And I have to say, like, I've been being on the B2B side. When you think about B2B marketing, I've been in this position where, in organizations where we have jumped right in, we've done this exact thing, right? So I look at this, I'm like, man, I've been there, I understand it. So like I said, looking at it from a B2B perspective, and many B2B marketers know this already, but 2/3 of the buyer's journey is taking place before they're even reaching out to sales. And so all of this activity is happening through content engagement, and it's taking anywhere from 8 to 12 interactions to generate a qualified lead. And that's not just 8 to 12 pieces of content, mind you, that's 8 to 12 pieces that your prospect is choosing to engage with. And this means that you're going to be creating much more content because you can't assume that your audience is going to engage with every piece that you put out there. And so this is where the importance of having a content operation plans comes in. When you jump straight into creating content without the upfront due diligence of defining your strategy, your development process, and understanding what performance looks like, you're going to experience not only elongated and really inefficient development timelines and content that may really miss the mark with your audiences, but if you don't have a standardized process for measuring content performance, you're not even going to know this. And so then there's the other side of that impact, which is to prospect and customer perception, which will make it even more challenging to establish authority and get yourself into your buyer's consideration set. So going back to that prospect engagement piece, having your strategy defined, identifying what the objectives of your content are, and understanding what the performance means to you is going to make it 10 times easier and efficient to attract and engage buyers and move them through the funnel.
Well, in the operations planning guide, we talked about the actions that are needed to develop this plan, and one of them is building a strategic framework. So, what are some of the elements we need to consider when we want to build that framework?
Yeah, absolutely. So the strategic framework is the why of your content, and it provides the direction to align your efforts under. So again, this is part of the reason why you just can't jump right in. You have to take a beat to think about what it is you're developing and why. It's where your audience and your SEO keyword research really comes into play. What is your content's purpose? What are the topics that make sense for you as an organization to be talking about and have a position on? What are the questions your content is going to answer for your audience? And what are the accompanying keywords you're going to use to help make sure your content gets found? And it's also the content flow. What's the logical topic progression? So when you write about A, what is next? What are the B, C, and D follow-up topics or questions your audience may need help answering? Or the adjacent topics that make sense to correlate with a preceding piece? Topic development can become matrixed very quickly. And this is one of the biggest gaps that I've seen working with content marketers is that they have this initial idea or set of initial ideas that span different audiences, but then haven't given thought to what needs to be next to keep that engagement with the audience going. So the framework identifies the what. It identifies also what shapes your content is going to take. What are the media formats you're going to prioritize, the publishing frequency that you're going to use, and on what channels and platforms you're going to publish that content on. And having this mapped out is what drives efficient content creation. And efficiency really is, when you're thinking about that well-oiled content engine machine, efficiency really is the name of the game because it takes so much effort to create the content that is needed to engage with your prospects. It enables you to then follow up with the well thought out nurture streams and the retargeting that is going to keep them progressing from awareness to consideration and so forth. So to shorten and recap the elements, when building your strategic framework, you want to define your content's purpose. What's the unique value that your content is going to provide to your audience? You are going to want to define how you're going to achieve that purpose. What kind of stories are you going to create? How will those stories take shape? And what are you going to create how are you going to create that unified content experience? And then the last one is defining what success looks like and using this to back into setting effective goals and objectives that you can then measure the performance against.
So very important. If you're just joining us, we are talking about content operations planning with Jeana Garms, the VP of Marketing at ArcXP. If you want to check out that guide, there's the link there on the bottom. We're chatting about it today. And we know, Jeana, that none of this can be done without the people on the team, right? So having the right people on board in the right positions with the right directives. What are some of the best practices to help make sure everyone is willing and able to work from the same playbook?
Yeah, absolutely. So just taking a quick step back too, it's also so important to remember that content marketing is a long-term strategy. It's not a flash in the pan. It's not something that you can do for a couple of months and think that you're just going to have all of the success from it. It is long-term, and it absolutely requires alignment across the organization on what is going to take for the strategy to be successful. And that being said, it's not just the marketing team that is involved, but product is very involved as subject matter experts who need to be able to help share their insights and help give the content team the details and the context for what's being created and the why. And certainly sales and overall leadership as well. Content marketing programs are often at the center of the demand generation, which is what's powering revenue growth. So having that organizational alignment is going to be key. On a more granular level, content marketing teams within the broader marketing team are typically pretty small. Content Marketing Institute itself actually had some research that came out that shows that just 33% of organizations have 2 to 5 content marketing dedicated team members, and 58% have one person or no one dedicated at all in a full-time manner. And so what this is meaning for teams is that content marketing functions are often rolled into other traditional marketing roles, operation roles. They're using technology to manage some of the needs from a content marketing aspect, as well as external talent like freelancers or agencies at times. And so what's important here is that when responsibility overlaps do exist, especially in the organization, some of those traditional and operational roles, is that the organization positions the content marketing responsibilities as being equally as important in that person's role and not treating it as in addition to their day job. So not creating this expectation and carrying through this commitment is really where many businesses end up failing with their content marketing efforts.
No one likes to hear, in addition to your regular job,
right?
We want you to do this, this, and this.
Yeah. So after you get done with all of that, and you have to do this on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's important to keep that in mind. All right. So establishing governance processes, workflows is an important part of any operations plan. And one of the ways to set your brand's governance standards is to establish an editorial advisory board. So what are some benefits of this?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. So I have, in most instances, I actually don't see it being called an editorial advisory board itself. It's kind of like your strategic team and you've got your executive leadership and what have you that's involved. But it is absolutely a key component. Whatever that board name is or whatever that makeup looks like is absolutely a key component to a successful content marketing program. And the reason being is your content creators, they can't operate in a bubble. To develop the content that's truly going to resonate and meet the needs of your target audience, you need to have a cross-functional team involved. And this should absolutely include its involvement from your subject matter experts. I mentioned product being one of those groups earlier, to help provide the needed information, the context to understand it, depending upon what your organization is and sells, if it's very technical in nature, like all of those bits of details are needed so that way you can then build authority with your audience. Involvement from the sales organization is absolutely key as well. You need to be able to get feedback on what they're hearing on sales calls. You need to be able to understand what challenges prospects are experiencing, industry insights, all of those different things to, again, help your content team determine what your audience wants from you in the market. So they have to have that involvement. And then it also should include members of your leadership, perhaps, and again, in instances for, I guess we would call the advisory board in organizations that I've been part of, it does include an executive stakeholder. And so the reason we have this person involved is that they remain aware of both the performance of the content programs, the impact that it's having on the business from a demand gen standpoint, moving people through the funnel, what it's taking to help shorten that life cycle, what have you, as well as what it takes the day-to-day to execute a content marketing strategy, because it is a lot. There's a lot of effort that goes into content marketing, and making sure that that information is surfaced and people understand that is what's going to help make sure that your content marketing program is successful. So again, kind of just to wrap that back, the biggest benefits of having the advisory board are really twofold. It addresses one of the biggest hurdles to a successful content marketing strategy, which is striking that balance between the overarching goals and the demands of acting as a content support team really for the rest of the organization. But then second, it enables the delivery of that consistent brand experience. When you have everyone involved, everyone on the same page, you can then make sure that all, what the left hand and the right hand are doing, everyone knows the same. Your content marketing program drives what your additional marketing programs are taking place. And having that consistent brand experience, as we all know, is so absolutely essential for building the authority that is going to resonate with your audience.
Yes, so very important. Get everyone together on the same page if you want it to be successful, for sure. All right, so finally, technology can be a marketer's best friend, as we know. What are some essential technologies you recommend to help brands manage the workload efficiently and effectively?
Yep, absolutely. So the technologies used, there's something I would say they're equally as important as establishing the content operations plan itself. Right now, you kind of think of it as this three-legged stool. You have your operations plan, you have your framework and your team resources, and then you have your technologies. And you have to have those first two in place before you can even really thinking about the technology piece of it. And then within that, having the right technology in place, it not only ensures that your content marketing program runs as planned, but is doing so with efficiency and cohesion across your channels. Again, we talked about Amanda, you've been talking about the ebook that we partner with Content Marketing Soon on, and one of the key call outs in the ebook itself is the tools that content marketers are using. And there's 5 of them that were identified as being used by organizations are using some or all of the 5 key tool sets. And those include analytics tools, which is not surprising to anyone. Creation, calendaring, and workflow and collaboration tools are very important. Social media publishing tools are important. The CRM or any sort of like audience management system is important. And then the 5th one of that is a content management system, which with us at ArcXP, that was very interesting for us to see as well. And what surprised me here is that only 54% of organizations and just 60% of top performing organizations are using a CMS. And so I think there's still a lot of opportunity for content marketing teams and organizations to really understand the value that a CMS can provide for your efforts. And so really when we look at it, an agile CMS in particular, which is what ArcXP provides, is it enables the development and the distribution of content efficiently. And you're able to do that at scale. And the reason is because you're able to eliminate so many of the disparate tools that content marketers are using today. You don't have a separate digital asset management system that you have to manage and maintain and sift through when you're trying to find elements, video and photo and what have you, elements to support your text-based copy. You don't have to manage all these different things. You don't have to go into each individual social media platform to distribute your content or that. You can use the APIs within a CMS to set up that distribution so it can all happen seamlessly. Routine workflows and task approvals. This is another big challenge in content creation. Version control, especially when you're working across teams, when you're working across internal partners, external partners, the email game back and forth and the inefficiencies of waiting for replies and, what version are you on and are we on the right one and what all that looks like. I have been through that so many times where we've had to roll back to previous versions because it's not the accurate one. So having these type of workflows built within a CMS like Arc and being able to automate the routine tasks and set up the notifications, like when you've got an edit ready to be made and you want to go through your approval flow and it flips over a notification to that person and be like, hey, you're up, go in and check this and you can make your things and your edits and what have you and go on to the next one. Having those type of things is going to help make the process incredibly much more efficient and get your content to market faster. And then on top of that, another thing too is a lot of organizations today are operating multiple websites, and this is also a big challenge. So when you are doing that website, oftentimes today they have to go into each individual platform and set up that content again and again for each one of their websites, or if it's different sections of their website that they want to distribute to. Having a multi-site orchestration tool, again, like what Arc has built in, the content delivery becomes really easy. You're able to take that piece of content and deliver it to your different sites or sections within the site with just a few clicks of the button. So really, when you find the right CMS and you implement it correctly, the CMS becomes your single source of truth, which I know for so many of us is the holy land. Just to, again, trying to make sure you have that really, really efficient experience, make sure you have that cohesive experience, and really making sure that the cohesion exists across all channels, because that is what's really going to build your authority. It's what's really going to make your content operations not only sing, but really, really be performant in a way that is going to continue to get you the support from the organization to continue your strategy forward.
Great stuff. And there's so much more in the operations planning guide, and you can download your copy there at the link. Jeana, thank you so much for joining me. Where can people find out more about you, find out more about RXP?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. No, appreciate it. So definitely you can follow myself or ArcXP on LinkedIn and Twitter. Also at our website, www.arcxp.com. I know the ebook today is on the Content Marketing Institute site. We'll actually be having it up on our site shortly as well too. And so people can download the copy of it. There's so much great content within it. I know we just skimmed over, just the highlights, but there is so much detailed and step-by-step information in it. So I highly recommend if if you have an established content marketing operation plan and you just want to revisit it and make sure that you have it effectively, or if there's nothing you're missing, or if you're looking to build one from net new, it absolutely is a fantastic resource to use in those efforts.
Yes, it's very robust. I will say that going through it. So, well, thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Jeana, for joining us. I really appreciate all of you taking the time today. Until next time, we will see you. Goodbye, Jeana.